Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And this vicious creature is Kendra. By the time you see this, she'll be over 14. And she's going to be annoying. Alright, moving on to the review. So this is the fourth book in the Wolves of Beyond series. This is the last one I have a physical copy of. So this is Frost Wolf. What happens in Frost Wolf is there's a famine. So basically, winter never ends, so the herds never really come back. So the wolves are starving. And things are kind of falling apart because the wolves are starving. And nobody can feed each other. So, and then I think it's I can't remember which clan it is. It's the major clan. It's the McDuncan clan. And their leader had died recently. And that was the clan that Fallon was a part of. So, he had been out with Edme trying to find food. They come back. They can't find anything. Her mentor is dying because her mentor is very old. They're brought to a meeting, and basically they explain kind of what they've seen, how they did in fact find what remnants of a herd, but it looked like they were going around in circles, and then they didn't find anything. So, and they were surviving off hares and fish they found, that they captured because they were kind of hibernating and the ice got thin enough. So they were capturing fish, because remember, Fallon was raised by a bear, so he knows how to catch fish. So, I have a small child. I took a bar class this morning. I am tired. And it's almost 7:30 at night. So, moving on. So, they are then, there is word that the McDuncan clan is having problems, so they go to find out. It's kind of chaotic right now. People are arguing all the time. Their leader, Liam, keeps disappearing periodically. And the Blood Watch, which is basically the wolves that protect Beyond from lone wolves that are out beyond the Beyond. That makes sense. And basically, wolves are not part of the clan, which is where Fallon's nemesis was sent out away from the territories. And so that hasn't been switched out. Normally those are switched. It's something that goes back and forth. So, so they go to figure out what's going on there. And one of the main wolves, Calla, has been there for a long time. So they go with, I think, her daughters, and they go with them, and they start hearing rumors about how these wolves will be doing these weird circles, waiting for another wolf to die. And they start seeing these. Now, before that, Fallon has the idea to help replace some of the watch with the Gnaw wolves, and they find one that had passed, then they find another one, Whistler, and he comes with them. And so they go up north and they join the Blood Wolves, but they're also Blood Watch, but they're also finding these wolves they're talking about. They've almost been put in a trance, including Calla, and she rejects her daughters. And they're just kind of obsessed with this prophet. And eventually, with the help of the wolf, Gwyneth, and then their kind of seer wolf. Now, Gwyneth is looking for a mask, because this wolf that had been stolen, that had belonged to her father, and holds some sort of honor mark. Because he had been great friends with the wolves. So, this has been stolen. She's obviously pissed off and trying to find it. Apparently, it's been stolen by this wolf. And they eventually find out that it is Liam, who's obsessed with basically, because everybody's dying anyway, he's basically coaxing them to die more. And so they find this. Besides, they unmask him, and he tries to basically, he gets in a heck of a lot of trouble, and they try to stop this nonsense. And Calla denounces her daughters, and they find these other parent wolves, and there's a cub with them, and his parents refuse to listen. It's like their son says, it's like their little cub. It's like, this is just a wolf. It doesn't have a mask. It's not some sort of prophet. And his parents kind of walk away, and essentially they're gonna die. So that is essentially, and then they go back to the circle. They're gonna take in this little cub because he's orphaned, and then Fallon also realizes who these two Calla was. Calla was his mother's sister, and when she had 3 pups in her lap in that litter, the 2 perfect pups and Fallon. So I think it's Darla, and I can't pronounce their names. They're his sisters. So he's going to take them to their mother's resting place. And that's kind of where this ends, is he's taken them to their resting place. And essentially, I think Edme is mourning her mentor as well. And so Edme is there with the pup, and Kendra's being annoying. And that's pretty much where this book ends, is they're still in a famine, there's still kind of a mess going on. So that's where this book ends. But you get a little bit of an inkling, unfortunately, from Edme that she's seeing Fallon as something else. And he's periodically seeing himself as a bear. And I think an owl. So, and a snowy owl. So interesting things are going on in this book. And it's kind of the what the heck is beginning here. So that's the end of this book. So this is book 4. There are 6. There are 2 more to go. And then I'll move on to the bears, which is, again, a different story. So I believe they're polar bears. But, again, that will be the end of Kathryn Lasky for at least for a little while. So this is an interesting book. Again, it goes along with this series. I do like Kathryn Lasky. Otherwise, I wouldn't be continuously cover after I did the 17-book series of the Guardians of Ga'Hoole. Now, the one thing to note that the author wishes to acknowledge is that the freezing shadow at first was suggested she got the idea from Mark Twain in Following the Equator. And then she's also indebted to the poet William Butler Yeats, for his poems on the Second Coming and the Sailing of the Byzantine. So that's where she's getting some of her ideas. So that's the end of this review of this specific book. So this is 4. There's 2 more to go. This is not as long as a series. I will be reviewing the 5th book, Spirit Wolf, after this. Then I have to read Star Wolf. So I have to read the end of that. So if you like what you see, be sure to check out the channel, like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you have one. If you're watching this and wondering what the heck I'm talking about and you haven't seen the rest of the series, go back, read the rest of the series. Heck, check out the Guardians of Ga'Hoole. That's a long series. Check out the rest of the channel as well. This year, I'm filming this in end of April of 2023. Kendra, be quiet. So you guys will be seeing this obviously in December. This year, I've covered the Princess Diaries, 2 Tamora Pierce series. If you're familiar with the other, she does medieval feminist teen fiction, for the lack of a better word. So I covered her Lioness, the Song Lioness Quartet, and her Immortals Quartet, which just in fact follow each other. I previously covered her Circle of Magic and Circle Opens Quartet, which is something completely different. Then I covered the Guardians of Ga'Hoole. Then I covered another Meg Cabot series, Allie Finkel's Rules for Girls, and now I'm finishing up this one. I will go on to the Bears one. There's Bears of the Ice after this. All 3 physical copies sitting here that I've had out longer than I've had these. It's just these need to be done. So if you're looking at the next series coming up into 2024, I will be covering the Animorph series, both the 3 current graphic novels and then in groups of 5 the rest of the series, because I found them online, thanks to the wonders of Reddit. I will also be covering all of Anne of Green Gables. That is going to include the 4 Sullivan films as well as The Road to Avonlea, all 7 seasons. And yes, I own them all. And I will be watching The Road to Avonlea, or Avonlea as it's also called. It aired on Disney in the 90s. It's actually Canadian, as is Anne of Green Gables. So that will be the first time me watching it as an adult. After that, I'm going on to the Boxcar Children, and then I'm going on to the Wings of Fire series. So that will be interesting. I'm going into that completely blind. That's dragons. Should be interesting. And then I will be, that will end the rest of the year. And then, of course, there'll be various different topics going on. I'm doing Beauty and the Beast. That's my fantasy. I'm doing that in September. I'm covering Angel Island and Asian immigration, Ellis Island, and general East Coast immigration. What else am I covering? Covering Women's History Month, African American History Month, the Titanic. I'm covering some interesting. January is going to be a hodgepodge of different craft stuff. Though we're talking more difficult craft stuff, i.e. metalworking and glass blowing. And then what else am I covering later this year? I'm trying to think what the heck I'm covering in October. I'm doing mysteries in December. I know that. In October, I think I'm covering. Oh, I have no clue. It's completely lost my mind. Space. I'm doing space. That's what I'm doing in October. I'm doing space for some reason. I can't remember what the heck I'm doing in November. I think it might be Women Inventors. This might be coming out. Kendra's meowing. All right, so that's the end of this video. If you like what you see, be sure to, again, like and subscribe. Leave a positive comment if you have one. This is Kendra. She'll be 14 by the time that you see this. She is annoying. Very, very annoying and wants out. All right, thank you.